Hello everyone, this is Kalyan from Blackbox Tech, and in today's episode I'll be discussing how you can automate your deployment for any of the frameworks, whether it is Angular, it's React or Svelte or any plain JavaScript project. I will show you how you can automate your complete deployment process using Jenkins from one server to another. So as you can see in the diagram here, the main idea is like whenever you push your source code into GitHub, that will trigger a build process, and in one server we'll have master Jenkins that will do the build of your application, and then once that build is done, it will hand over your build artifacts to another server which will have a Jenkins slave, and that Jenkins slave will take that file or the bundle file and then deploy to specific folder. So in our example we'll be using Apache for this instance, but you can have any of the other servers where this same process will work. And also here I will show you like only two server, master and slave, but you can have multiple slave in multiple servers, so in your single application can be deployed to multiple instances. So without further delay, let's get started. So first of all, I'm going to create two EC2 instance. For my example, I'll be using Amazon EC2, and I will create two server instances. So one will be for master and one will be for slave. So let's go to Amazon EC2 and I will create two instances. So first one will create as master. I will be using a Amazon Linux. Select. As you know, like the build process is a little memory intensive. For an example, I will be using an Angular project, and the Angular production build will take a little bit of memory for this Webpack and Node process. So I will go with a T2 medium where we'll have 4 GB of memory. So let's select that, and please remember this is not a free tier eligible, so the free tier is still 1 GB, and that is not sufficient to run Jenkins with a Angular build process. So you need to think about that. So I will be selecting this T2 medium here, and then I will go to next configure. I will keep everything as default. Then I will go to add storage. That is fine, the default one 8 GB is more than enough. Now I will going to use security group. So add tags. So there is no requirement to add any tags. I will keep it blank. Next, configure security group, and I will select an existing security group, the launch wizard 2. So if you select that, what I have done, I have given this HTTP access which will having an 80, and also I have added a custom TCP rule to open our port 8080 because Jenkins will run on port 8080, and another to SSH into this server I have kept the 22 port range. So with this, let's review and launch. Then launch, and also there will be option to choose your existing key pair, or you can create a new pair. For first time I would suggest to create a new key pair, and it will provide you a file .pem file which you need to store somewhere in the computer, because that will be required during SSH to your server. So as I already have an existing key named master, so I'll be using this. So I'm using choose as an existing key pair. I'll acknowledge and then click launch instance. So it will take some time to launch the particular instance. In the meantime, I'm just naming it master to identify which will be our master and which will be our slave. And then again I will create our slave instance. So in the slave instance, typically I will have our Jenkins slave, as well as I will install Apache as a web server where we will deploy our Angular application. So I will select that and for this the T2 micro is enough. Then next, configure, I will keep the default. Add storage, 8 gig is more than enough. Add tags, I don't need that. I will go again and I will select again the same launch user 2 as a security group to provide access, because our Apache will run on port 8080, and also I need this SSH access. So you can create 2 separate security group for 2 different server, because the first one we don't need to access port 80, so you can have a separate. For example purpose, I'm keeping it simple and giving access to the same security group. Review and launch, and then I'll hit launch, and again I will choose the same key pair to login, acknowledge, launch instance. So within few minutes the both of the instance will be up and running. So my master is ready and the current state is running, so just select that and you will have some public IP which you need to log in here. And also if you hit select connect, it will give you like example how you can log in to your system. So I will just copy it. I will open my terminal. Let's open a fresh terminal here, and I will just paste this command. As you know, like in my home directory I have this master PM, so this should work. If you want to see like where I have kept this, because my terminal runs from home and my user, so it is already kept in my here, so master.pem. so I'm running. If you are storing it somewhere else, then this path will be different for you. So let's hit enter, select yes, and within few seconds you will be logged into your master instance. So once you there, so what I need to do, the default logged in is already EC2 user, and it's always need a key to log in, which I don't want. So what I'll do, I will just enable the password login here. So for that first I need to change the password. So I will just copy it and I will change my password or EC2 user, so it will ask for a new password. I'm giving a new password here. So you can see this is changed my password. And also another thing, I need to enable the password login thing with the password authentication parameter. So for that I need to go to this URL and remember, like EC2 user is a sudo user, so always to perform any thing which can be done by a root user, you need to always use sudo. So I will be using sudo, and I will use the editor called vi, and I will open this configuration into the vi editor. So once that is opened, I will look for this password authentication key and I need to enable that. So let's find that key. So here you can see this password authentication that is actually commented out, so you need to enable that. Hit I into your keyboard, so it will be in insert mode. Enable that and then hit escape, then :WQ to save the file. So I have saved it. Now I need to run the sudo service ssh restart to take our changes into effect. So I've hit that, it's done. Now I will exit once, and then I will try to log in without this pem file and only using my password. So let's remove this master.pem parameter and also -i flag. Hit enter, and it will now ask for the password which we have set up a few minutes back. So I will just use my password, and now you will be able to log in to your EC2 instance without any key. So the next thing what we need to do, we need to install Java, and then we'll install Jenkins, and also we need to install Git. So let's do one by one. First I will run this sudo yum update, and it will update your yum repository. So once it is done, I will install Java. So sudo yum install Java. I'll hit yes. Because Jenkins needs Java, so before installing Jenkins, you need to have Java installed in your instance. So that, keep in that mind. So once that is done, I can verify my Java installation by running java -version, and it will show you like the installed Java version in your instance. Now the next item, I will install Jenkins. So this yum update is not needed anymore because I've already done this a few minutes back. So now I'll directly jump into adding this Jenkins repo. So let's type it, sudo so you can see it's added now. It's saved. Now the next item is I will run this, import this key, sudo rpm sorry, my bad. So it's added. Now let's install the Jenkins with a simple command, yum install Jenkins, and add sudo before that. So now it should install your Jenkins. No package Jenkins available. Maybe you mean Jenkins. So I will just correct the URL here. So it is small. I'm not sure why it is taking a caps there. So let's make it smaller. And then I will run service Jenkins restart here. So sudo service Jenkins restart, and it is started, and also run this one. So if server sudo and then paste this, and now our Jenkins should be started here. I will go to this EC2 instance and I will copy the public IP, and then I will paste, and then 8080 this is public IP. Yeah, so now it's coming up. So yeah, so once you can see the first screen, it will ask for a password, which will say in some place it will be covered. So what I'll do, I will just use sudo and then cat and this URL to get the password. I'll just copy this administrator password here, hit continue, and I will install the suggested plugins. So it will take some time to install all these plugins. So during that time, let's install our git. So it's a simple command, sudo yum install git. So this should install our git. So it will be used to pull the files from our GitHub, and you can check it by which git. So it should show the path where it is installed. So now also this screen came up so for Jenkins. So let's add some username and password. can use some email address, save and finish. So our Jenkins is ready. So now we will prepare our second instance, which will be our Jenkins slave. So let's go back, EC2 dashboard, running instances, and I will name it slave. And here I will select the public IP, and it will be same as fast, like you need to first log in with the PM file and then change your password, and also give it a password authentication so it can be logged in with only the password. And I will again log in without the PM file in the second instance. It will ask for my password. So now I am logged in. So I will go to this part. So in the slave system, so I just need to install Apache, and we don't need to install Jenkins here because we'll use it as our Jenkins slave. So first let's install this Apache. So it's done. I will do sudo service httpd restart. So it started, and then if you go to this IP for the second instance, this IP, you can see our Jenkins our Apache is working there. So this is Apache, and it's the default page of Apache. So we do need to change the path, the default directory a bit, because if I show you my project structure, so my project name is basically automation demo, and when you build your application, so that file will be stored in dist and automation demo. And our Apache's default directory is var www.html. So we also need to create these two directory to match our project structure. So once our Jenkins will deploy and copy the file within this folder, our Apache should use this folder structure to take the HTML from inside automation demo folder. So let's do that change. So I will create a folder called dist and automation demo. So let's go inside var www.html first. So now I will use cd var www HTML. Okay, and then I will create two directory. So one is create a directory called dist. Okay, so sudo mkdir dist, and then go inside dist and sudo mkdir. I will create the folder name as our project name, animation demo. So now if I hit pwd, so if you see the dist, and already we are inside automation demo, so this is the correct path. Now we need to also change the Apache configuration, so it takes this structure as our default directory. So for that we need to go here, httpd config. So what I'll do, I will use sudo so I need to use again the vi editor. So sudo vi, and this URL I will hit I to enter into insert mode, and then I will find the directory. So this is the document root. Here I will make the changes. So what I'll do, I will use slash dist and then slash automation demo. I'm sorry, slash our folder name automation demo, and that's it. I will hit escape, then WQ to save the changes. Now I need to restart the HTTPD service to take that in effect. So service HTTPD restart. So sudo service HTTPD restart. So it will be restarted. If you hit refresh, you will still see this page because this is our default page, but when we'll actually deploy our application, it should replace by our Angular application. So the next step is I'll be inside our Jenkins. Now I will configure my slave Jenkins. So for that you need to go to manage Jenkins, and I need to create a folder. So you will understand why. So right now if I hit cd and pwd, so you can see I'm right now inside home EC2 user. So here I will create a file called Jenkins. So for this you don't need to run sudo command, because I need this user I will use for as a slave, so it should have access to this folder. So I will simply run mkdir Jenkins. So it will create a folder called Jenkins here, and I will just cd inside this and hit pwd to take this folder path, and I will go here Jenkins and then manage Jenkins, and I will go to manage nodes. So here I will create a new node, and this node name, so you need to remember whatever the node name you provide here, because that is important, because the Jenkins file I will go through shortly, so that is very important. So that should match the node name what you are providing here. So as you can see in my Jenkins file, I have given the node name as AWS node. So let's provide the same name here, AWS node, and I will select this permanent agent, hit OK. So it will ask the remote root directory where I'm just pasting whatever I've copied a few minutes back, and then use this node as much as possible and launch agent via SSH. That is fine. And I will also copy the host address here. So this is our host, and also now credential, I need to add the username and password for EC2 user, so this master can logged in into your slave. So my username is EC2 user, and I will provide the password, and description, add anything. I'm adding a description of slave, add. Now select this credential here and hit save. So now by default it will not start, so if you click here, and you need to hit this launch agent. So one thing we have forgot to add, we need also Java in the system, in the second system. So because Jenkins will put some jar into your slave system, so it is not running. So let's go back and also install Java here. So to install Java, again I will go to here and I will follow the step. So I will hit sudo yum update. So once it is done, I will simply run sudo yum install java 1.8, hit yes. check your Java installation by running java -version. So it's been installed. Now let's go back to our Jenkins and try to start our agent again. Now hit launch agent. So maybe the configuration is wrong, so probably I will go to configure launch agent via SSH. Launch agent via SSH. I am giving the host name, username, password. So host key verification strategy, you need to manually trusted by verification strategy, and hit save again and try to relaunch the agent. This time it should start. Launch failed. I'm not sure this time why. Nodes. So it is showing it started. Project I twist. This is started, but the error, I'm not sure why it is given an error, but you can see now there is nothing. It's started correctly. So the next thing I'll do. So install git also done. Now in my master, as my master need to connect with my GitHub, so what I need to do, I need to generate some SSH key, and that SSH key I need to add into our GitHub project settings. So let's create this SSH, run this SSH keygen to generate a public key in my master server. So this is my master one. I'll go back, and this time I will switch to root user. So you can do that by running sudo su minus. So you will switch to your sudo user and then simply run this SSH keygen. So it will ask which to save the key. So just use the default, hit enter. So it will be generated your file. Then you just need to cat to get your file or the ID, the public key. So just copy this public key here, and now I will go to my Jenkins project, and I will go to settings, and then SSH and GPG keys I will select. I will just delete my old key, and I will add new SSH key, give a title called Jenkins master, and I will add my SSH key here. So it will ask for the password, please add that, and it is being added. So now my master Jenkins can talk to my GitHub and can access or push anything, can pull the files from my project. So let's go back to my project here. So this is the project we'll be using today, automation demo. So let's check like if we ever missing something. So this step, every step is done here. So now what I'll do, I will configure the master. So my slave is also deployed. So if you go to my slave, you can see within this Jenkins folder, it's created this remoting.jar file. And whenever we run our project, it will also create the workspace directory. So now I will configure my pipeline. So before that, I would like to go through the Jenkins file. So this is a simple Angular project, and in the root I have created a file called Jenkins file. Please remember the J is caps, but there is no such requirement. You can give any name to this file, and by default as usual I'm given a Jenkins file. That is the best practice, so you can also use that. And you can see there is two node block. So basically it start with some block called node. So this is my master node, so which I will be using for my project build, and once it is done I will hand over to my slave node to deploy my file. So let's go through the master node. So what I'm doing, I have created different stage. So in the first stage, I will clone the project file from Git, and then the second stage I will install the node modules. So when you create a new project, the first thing you run npm install to install your all the files which is defined in your package.json. So this is here same. But if you remember, we have not installed node.js in any of our master or slave. As master will build the project, so you need to have node.js support there. But I don't want to you install node in the node.js into the root. So another option is you can install node.js through Jenkins. You can install a plugin called node.js, and you can use that with this wrapper. So whenever you run any command which will be using npm, so you can wrap this with this command. So I'll show you like how to install node.js. Let's go back to our Jenkins, manage Jenkins, and then global tool configuration. And in the global tool configuration, before that I need to install that plugin. So go to manage plugins, and in the available section search with node.js, select that, install without restart, and so everything will be blue once that is installed. So now it is installed. I will go back to my page. Now manage Jenkins. Now I'll come to global tool configuration. So you can see there is a node.js available. So just hit add node.js. So that's name. So this name is very important. Why, I will show you in shortly. So I'm giving a name of node.js. So install automatically, and I will select a version 10 and above. So any version, but select this 10.16.3 here, and keep everything same, and then I will hit apply and save, and that will install or use your node wrapper. And then I'll go into the project. So as you see, I've in the name section I have given node.js, right? So this is important. This should match whatever the name you are adding in the configuration. So every time I use any npm command, you need to use that wrapper, and inside that you need to run npm install within this shell command. So sh means shells. So what I'm running within shell, I will run npm install, and once that is done, I will echo or print modules installed. Then the next stage, I will build our project. So that is also an npm command. So within shell, I'm running npm run build. Once that is done, the Angular project build, I will echo build completed. The third stage is actually I will package our build artifacts. So mainly our build artifacts will reside in dist directory, right? So what I'm doing, I am using this dist automation demo and creating a tar file out of it. So it will go to this folder and create a complete tar file. Okay, and then the file name will be bundle tar.gz, and then in the artifacts creation stage, I'm adding a fingerprint of the same file and archiving the artifacts which has been created. So in this it will be same as bundle tar.gz, and then I will stash the changes. So with the same allow empty true and includes, I'm including this tar file, and I'm giving a name called build artifacts. So now in the second node, when I will hand over to our slave, so within this AWS node, I am unstashing whatever I have stashed here. So it will transfer the file, and then when our slave have this bundle tar.gz, I'm simply copying that to inside our var www.html, and I will go to our cd var html and then copy that. So in this case, it will be var www.html, and also it will be a different file. So you can see var www.html, and our main path is dist and automation demo, right? So once this bundle will be extracted here, so it will create these two directory, dist and automation demo. So the complete path will match with our configuration like var www.html, and it will extract the tar. So once that is deployed, you can see immediately the changes available in the Apache server. So let's now configure a one pipeline into the Jenkins. So I will hit create new jobs. I will give it a name, anything you can add, and select this pipeline. So hit OK. you can put any description, and then in the build trigger section, I will just use poll SCM right now. So it will be poll whatever the number or minutes or hour you want. So in my previous videos, one of the previous videos, I have already shown how you can use the GitHub hook. So whenever you push some code, it will immediately trigger your project. So you can use that GitHub hook trigger for Git SCM polling. If you watch the video, you can understand how you can configure that. But for this example, I'm using poll SCM, and I will schedule it for every minute it will trigger. So I will push just add some 5 stars, stars space star 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 star, and that means a minute. So every minute. And you select do not allow concurrent build. So a single time only one build will work. It will not do any concurrent builds. And then in the next line, in the definition, I will hit pipeline script from our SCM. So in our SCM is Git. Okay, and I need to add my repository URL. So I will just copy that. I will hit so it will not ask for any credential because I have already added my public key of the master to GitHub. So it will authenticate that, and my default branch is master, and the script path is Jenkins file. So that is the root. So if your Jenkins file is not in the root, so you need to define here the path where it will look for this Jenkins file. So in my case, it's already in the root with the same names jcaps and Jenkins file. So I'm just keep the same, and then apply, save. So once that is done, I will hit build now, and let's see if that is able to build and deploy. So you can see it's success. The stash it is done. So now go back to our Apache, and if you hit refresh, our Angular application should be visible. Let's refresh that, and you can see our Angular application is available. So whenever you do any changes and push to your GitHub, this should run if you select the GitHub hook, or it will automatically check for every minute. You can make it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever as per your taste. And another thing I want to tell you, so this is basically very basic configuration where we are not doing unit testing or end-to-end testing. So you can do that simply by creating another stage. So after installing dependency before build, you can actually create a unit testing stage or testing, and then you run your unit test, and if that is not go to particular threshold or it fails, you can simply return an error exit code 1. So our Jenkins process will fail. And also you can use different plugin like Slack or mail plugin, whenever your Jenkins process failed, you can simply mail to your developer like this build has been failed and there is some errors. So you will not able to take them to the deployment process. So that's all for today. I hope you like my video. So you can also check out one of my automation videos earlier. So in that I have not used any slave, but this is the same server I have used for Jenkins build and deploy. You can also watch that, where I have shown the this process, GitHub hook process. And also I will share along with the video all this process. So this presentation will be available in the video description, so you can actually directly download and go through it and keep it as a reference for this process. So please like my video, subscribe, and keep watching. Thanks a lot for your support. We'll meet again next week.